Hi everyone, welcome to Reading with Reference. My name is Katherine. I'm a reference librarian at the Haverford Township Free Library, and I've got two books to tell you about today. The first is Beach Read by Emily Henry. I'm currently about halfway through this one. It's what I'm reading right now, and it's a really sweet, refreshing read that I'm enjoying a lot. It's a rom-com style novel, but don't let that keep you from picking it up if that's not your usual style. There's a lot of substance and real heart to it. The book opens with January Andrews, acclaimed romance author, who is at a bit of a loss. She can't seem to get past her writer's block, which is an even bigger problem than normal because she has a book due to her publisher at the end of the summer. She's moved to a small beach town for a few months in hopes of forcing herself to focus and get her novel done. But the town and the house she's living in are both fraught and painful for her. The house was left to her by her beloved late father, who, it turns out, was hiding some pretty serious secrets from January before his death. So it's with all of this going on that she discovers that her neighbor for the summer is her old college nemesis and fellow author, Augustus Everett. Other than the fact that they both write fiction, their work has next to nothing in common, and neither do they. January writes happily ever afters. Augustus writes bleary literary fiction that often ends with all of his characters dying. But he's facing his own writer's block, and so out of their desperation and a lot of flirting, January and Gus decide to swap projects. January will try her hand at depressing literary fiction, and Gus will give romance and happy endings a shot. Like I said, I'm only about halfway through this, so I don't know how it ends just yet, but I love that premise, and Emily Henry writes it really well. I can't wait to get home and keep reading and find out what happens next. The second book I'm going to tell you about is Exit Pursued by a Bear by E.K. Johnston. It's a little bit older. It came out in 2016, and it's a young adult title, but just like with Beach Read, don't let that stop you from reading it if you tend not to go for YA. This one is a contemporary retelling of Shakespeare's play A Winter's Tale, centered around a cheerleading camp in rural Ontario. The main character is Hermione Winters, co-captain of her cheerleading team, heading into her final year of high school as well as her final cheer camp. She's looking forward to the time with her team, especially her best friend and co-captain Polly, and to a lesser extent, her boyfriend and teammate Leo. But then one night, the whole camp, cheerleaders from high schools around Ontario, throws a dance. Someone hands Hermione a drink, and after that it all goes dark. When she wakes up, it's in the hospital. Although she can't remember it, Hermione and the doctors know that she's been raped. In that instant, her whole life changes. She's always been the strong, stoic one, the one that others can lean on. Now she finds herself feeling deeply wounded and broken and in need of others to lean on herself. I think that's why I loved this book as much as I did. On the surface, yes, it's the story of the aftermath of sexual assault. But beyond that, and more than that, it's the story of the ways that people show up for each other when they need it the most. Hermione's teammates, her parents, her therapist, and especially Polly don't miss a beat in doing that for her. It's a beautiful portrait of what it looks like to heal from trauma and start to build a life for yourself in spite of that. I really loved it. I read it all in a single day, which rarely happens for me anymore. It's a great one. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you're reading something great for this weekend, especially with all this rain. Thanks again. Take care.